Hello you guys, welcome back to another episode of Love Sis. My name is Vanessa and I am your host, and I am just doing another episode today. Some things that I have been going through, and had my first fitting for my dress, my wedding dress and bridal shower dress, things like that, last week, so that's super exciting. I have to do my second fitting. I actually missed my second fitting today. I don't know how. I literally forgot to write it in my planner, which I have like a planner, and then I have a calendar as well, like on my phone. I don't know how I missed that. I just, because there's so many like appointments that I've had. So I'm going this week for my second fitting for my bridal shower dress. I found this dress I liked and it didn't fit me, so they had to tailor it, so I'm gonna do that. And yeah, these are like such fun appointments and things like that. So that is just some updates with my life. But before we get into the episode and things like that, and I have just been enjoying, like, he'll come over for dinner, and then the new seasons of The Chosen have come out. So we saw the first two in theaters, and then we saw the last one. We still have two more to go, but we saw like the third episode of The Chosen on TV yesterday, like watching it with my family. And I just really encourage you guys to watch The Chosen. Like, I am a big fan of The Chosen. Personally, the Lord has told me, like, spoken to me so much about how, like, anointed The Chosen is. Like, I remember the first time I saw The Chosen, it was like I could put the Bible into storytelling visually, and I'm a very visual learner. I think a lot of us are visual learners, and I just think that The Chosen was a really good way. It's like a really good deception of what Jesus is and who he is, and how his mannerisms and like the way that he, like, his demeanor is. Like, for me, that was really big, because, you know, you're reading about Jesus, and so you kind of make up how you know of Jesus, but to actually see his compassion and the acting through, like, throughout his eyes and just stuff like that. So that really moves me a lot, and I always encourage girls to watch The Chosen if they want to even just get closer to God. Reading your Bible and then watching, like, literally the episode play out is so cool. So yeah, we were watching it yesterday, and like every single time I watch it, I literally cry. Every time I see Jesus, I cry, because I'm just like, I don't know, like, he's just so amazing, and it's just really, really moving. And it always convicts me. It always makes me feel closer to God. It always makes me just see God in a different light. And honestly, it gives me so much compassion for what Jesus did for us and what he, like, went through. And it always makes me want to forgive really quickly, like, or just like think of like the little things I'm going through, like they're not big things. Like, it just makes me see, like, the gospel, really, like, it shows me what Jesus did for us and how important it is, and that if there was only one person that he would have died for, he said, like, it would be me, and it would be you. And so, like, I don't know, to me that's just so moving. So I always encourage you to watch The Chosen, because it is really moving and really good. So anyways, without further ado, I do want to transition into what we're talking about today. God really has put on my heart that I should make an episode talking about friendship and friendship breakups, friendship hardships, what is a good friend, and kind of just share with you guys what, I've gone through, some hardships and hard times that I've gone through with friends, because community is such a big part of our life. And I know for me, like, I love friends, and I love sisterhood. I love girlhood, and I'm such a girl's girl. And I have a sister. My mom and I are really close. Like, I always had a lot of friends growing up, and European. So growing up Italian, our family, like, really, it's almost like people who are friends, like, you consider family. Like, it's just a thing when you're, like, European. Like, it's just something that I was grown up with. Like, you just basically give your arm and your leg to people. Like, that is, like, literally the culture in itself. Very giving. My family's very giving, like, open door, like, very catering, expressing love through food, expressing love through, being there for someone, very loyal. Like, those are just attributes of our culture. There's definitely, boundaries and things that you need, that also are not good about that. But yeah, like, I just was always raised that way, with that thinking. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about friendships and just, like, hardships that I've gone through, and how I can help you navigate through how you can just like navigate through, you know, maybe you're going through like a friendship breakup, or you are in a season where you don't have many friends right now. I know what that's like as well. So I guess like growing up, I always had a ton of friends. It was just, I honestly was just like a little chatterbug. Like I literally would talk to anyone. So I think my personality just like opened myself up to, you know, being able to have a lot of friends. And I just remember like playing soccer all the time, traveling all the time, and that just broadened my, you know, just broadened my ability to be able to meet new people and have a lot of different friends. So when I would meet these friends and things like that, I just remember always wanting to like give them the best of me, like do everything I could for them, and have them over. Like my family always, again, like they would cook and things like that, so I'd have, you know, friends just come over, and I'd have other friends meet other friends. And so like I just, you know, community was huge for me, and so I loved that, and my life was so rich with having a lot of friends and stuff. But then when I met Jesus and I started to have a relationship with God, and I started like incorporating faith back into my life and things like that, I lost a lot of friends, and I went through like a lot of hurt, and that was really hard for me, because for somebody like, for me, I was going through, you know, like growing and transitioning and like meeting God and having faith again, and just like reading my Bible and obviously doing things that like my friends at the time weren't doing. For me, it was like helping me so much, and I was so excited, and I loved Jesus, and I wasn't pushing it onto them at all. But I think there wasn't that commonality anymore, and a lot of my friends, you know, thought that that was different, thought it was maybe weird, and they didn't like it. So I just felt like I was always like posed with, I can either, you know, not follow God anymore, I can choose to not go the way of the Bible, or I could, you know, I could like lay this down and put this way because my friends want to be my friend, and I want to be accepted, or I can stay true to my convictions, and if they want to walk out of my life, let them. And that was what I chose to do, because I wouldn't ever expect someone to like stop following something that works for them. I was experiencing the love of God, the love of Christ, the peace of God, the healing that God was doing in my life was life-changing. I couldn't imagine my life without God. And so I had to choose like what is important here. Like, and obviously my friends to me were so important, but not as important as my convictions were to God and to Christ. And I don't think that anybody should conform. If you have people who don't like what you're doing, they don't like the things that you're, you know, talking about, or just the way that you are because now you're different or whatever, that's not a you problem. Like, you know, that's something that they have to accept. That's something that they are gonna have to see in you and choose to accept you. And if they don't, you have to let them go, because you're not going to force anyone to stay your friend. So that is kind of what would happen in a lot of times with my life. Like I had well, when I first went to college, I had a lot of friends, and I had this was before like I ended up like fully, you know, reading my Bible and things like that. But I went to church the first couple times, and I also was just like living a little different. Like I didn't want to drink a lot. I didn't want to go out a lot. I just was trying to get my priorities straight. I know I was young, but to me it was like I didn't want to do that. But I wasn't saying it was bad for these people to do these things. Like I personally just like wanted something different in my life, and that they didn't like that. So they just said, okay, well, we're not going to be your friend. And I wish I could have just been like, all right, like, you know, no big deal. Like I wish I was stronger, I wish I was tougher, but I wasn't, because I'd never gone through that before. I mean, I'd gone through some friend, you know, breakups, but nothing to that extent. So that was the beginning of it all. Like that was like my first like really big like friendship breakup type of situation. Actually, no, it wasn't. That was my second time, because I had people when I was in high school that they were like, like one friend completely came up to me, and she was just like we were literally best friends, and this girl, and then she was like, yeah, you're just different now, like you're weird, read the Bible, I don't like that. I don't want to be your friend. And I was like so shocked and so heartbroken, and I was like, what? Like, but now looking back, I know that people are in your life for a season, and they're not always going to be there for the rest of your life. And I think that that's what is hard sometimes to understand, but we have to understand that people serve us a purpose for seasons of our lives. Sometimes some are there forever, some are there for only a season, and to teach you something, like a reason of life. And that's what's happened a lot throughout my life. And so I end up kind of going to I go to college, and I have all of these friends, and they end up like walking away from me completely, like all of them turning against me. There was like six or seven of them, like my friend group, and they all just turned away from me and were like, yeah, like we don't want to be your friend. Like or I think they still would have been my friend, but like after what they did, I was like, I'm not like so hurtful and messed up. So I chose to like, you know, heal from that. And if I saw them today, I still love them. I mean, we're just not as close, you know, we're not friends anymore, but I still have love for them. I forgive them and everything. But what I'm trying to say is, when you go through a lot of hard things with people and friends, it isn't always because like it's just like happening for no reason. Like God, a lot of the times where you're going, people can't come, or they're just, again, like it's just God serves, maybe they're there to teach you a lesson, and it's not maybe those people who you're gonna, you know, be your ride or dies, or they're not gonna be in your wedding. And that's what I want to talk about. Like, how have I moved on from these without having bitterness or I don't know, envy or strife in my heart? And you know, it is hard. Like, let's be honest, I'd say I've matured so much as I've gotten older and wiser in Christ. Like, you know, when this first happened to me, way more hurtful, and now if it happens to me, it's still hurtful, but it's not like I'm stronger. I just kind of am like, okay, like I trust you, God, like with what you're doing. I recently just had a friend break up like not too long ago, and I feel like leading up to my wedding, like it's a pretty hard situation. I feel like the old me would have been like literally crying in shambles, and the new me is just like, you know what, like it is what it is. I wish you peace, I wish you the best, God bless you, I truly like love you still, and like it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? So like I want to teach you guys how I've kind of like grown in that. And because I know I'm not the only one. Like, I know I'm not the only one who struggles with friendship breakups and friendship hardships and things like that. And I just remember when people would, you know, there was another instance where almost like they defile your character. Like, they're like, you did this, like this is, you judge me, or you make me feel this way. And I'm like, I don't though. Like I'm not trying to do that. Like, I'm just living my truth. I'm living the truth of God. Like, this is what it is. And it's just going against what you believe. But that doesn't mean that I'm better. And that doesn't mean that we can't be friends. But the truth is if you are following Jesus, a lot of the ways that you're gonna live are gonna, without you having to say it, it's gonna call out other people, and they're not gonna like it. And if they're not ready, or if they don't want to live how you're living, like they want to continue to sin, they're not gonna like it, and they're gonna say, I don't want to be your friend. Like, they're gonna make things up about you and say you're judging me, or you're this and that. And I know how hurtful it can be when people just what is that word, like they just like misrepresent your character, and they just defile your character. But God says that he's your defender, and I've just lived with being misunderstood. Like, it's not something that I even like think about anymore. It's just like, you have to know that you're gonna be misunderstood. And if people are speaking ill about you, and you know your heart intentions, you know what's true and what's not, God is your defender. You don't have to prove yourself to anyone. And that's something that's been so hard for me, because I've always felt like I've had to prove myself to people, because I feel like people take you for face value. I feel like people are super judgmental when they don't even know you. I mean, I've gone through so many hard things that I don't even really talk about. And so that's kind of the point of this. Like, I'm just trying to open up more about all of the hard things I've been through, and the friendship breakups I've been through, and how you can move on from this. So God has really allowed me to handle these situations without getting bitter, falling asleep with having peace, constantly. I live in peace, I have joy, and I don't wish these people bad. And I don't have enemies, they do. So that's like how I look at it. Like, I don't have enemies. Like, there's nobody that I don't like. I love everybody, and even if there's something that's going on that's really difficult with like other people, and they've spoke bad about me and they don't like me, or they say things that are hurtful, whatever, like on my name, like whatever, I always go to God and I'm like, please soften my heart. Like, whatever is going on with the situation, like, that is still your child. You love them. Help me, because I don't want, and I can't live with unforgiveness, because you can't live like that and live and walk righteously with God. So I fear God more than I do anything. So I don't want to live like that. I want to have peace in my heart. I want to bless people. I don't want to have like ill thoughts or ill will towards people, because that's not who God calls us to be. So I want to just kind of talk to you guys about that. And again, I believe that people are here for a season, and not every friendship is meant to be forever, which I know can be hard, and I know that can hurt. But I do think you'll grow stronger in knowing that. And friendships are meant to teach you things. Like, there's friendships, like God says iron sharpens iron. So like, friendships are supposed to call you higher and are supposed to teach you things. And they're a means to grow each other. And maybe they're removed a lot of the times. I think people are removed because God sees what they say about you, and he sees that they're not true to you maybe. And so if you've ever been in a situation where like a friendship has like fallen apart and you're so confused why, and you don't understand in your own understanding, you have to just trust God that he knows the bigger picture. Like, he sees things you don't see. He hears conversations they say without you like listening. Like, he knows more than us. And I know it can be so hard in our own understanding, because we don't get why that would happen. Like, we thought this person was so different, but God sees the heart. And so if someone is just like radically wants to leave your life, let them, because God sees the heart, and he knows if that person's not meant to be in your life, it's okay. And a lot of the times the Lord has removed people from my life because where I'm going, he knows that they can't come. And maybe where you're going, they can't come. Maybe God has something so amazing for you because he's seen your heart, and he sees how you treat people, and he knows the call over your life. And where you're going, maybe he knows that these people will just come along for the ride. Because anybody, like for me with my wedding, I've said like anybody will say yes to champagne and a nice dinner. So it's like you really want to be discerning about the people that are meant to be in your life. And you don't have to be friends with everyone. So it's like, really be discerning about that. Like, I'm super discerning about who I let in my life now because of the wisdom I've grown in with God. And I prefer to keep my circle tight, because to me, I don't always, personally, I just don't trust everyone 100%. And so it's probably also because of what I've gone through, but I just believe that I would rather invest my time into people who I know have genuine, true intentions than spend my time talking to people for 2-3 years, giving them so much of my time, and then they just decide to leave me like a dime. So that's how I live, and I'm sure it's because of what I've gone through, but that's what God's called on my life. And so maybe your life is totally different. And friendships are something I pray about all the time, because I feel friendships are like one of the most important things in someone's life. I think that, like, who are you without community? Who are you without people? I think we need people. We need a community. We need friends. And so I've been so blessed that God has brought me people in my life that are true and genuine. And it says that the importance of friendship in a verse in Proverbs 17:17 states, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity." So God knows that friendship is important. And I remember my grandma would always say to me, if you can count how many friends you have on one hand, you're beyond blessed. Meaning, like, if you have one friend, one true good friend, you have so much more than other people think. And if you have 3 good friends, like, that's a blessing. Like, it is hard to have and find 3 true good friends, because I don't think we all know the meaning of a true friendship and the sacrifice and the selflessness of friendship. So, like, just because you have maybe like 10 friends it's like, are those like truly good people? Like they would be there for you, or you would be there for them when they need something, or you would, your heart posture towards those people, like what do you want them to succeed? Do you want them to be successful? Do you want the best for them? Like what's your heart motive behind that, with which is what our heart motive should always be with friends. We should never have jealousy, envy. We should never want to be striving above people. Like that matters so much. And so that's why God sees the heart, because he knows. I think a lot of friendships are broken up because of jealousy. I think a lot of it's envy. People are very insecure nowadays. We have social media is at an all-time high, causing people to think other people's lives are like unbelievably amazing and untouchable. So people just get really jealous because they don't really know the person. People only put out, you know, a highlight reel, so it makes people really insecure. And I can see why girls are insecure within friendships, because maybe someone is having like a really celebratory season in their life. God is like blessing them abundantly in that season of their life, but with the other friend, maybe their season's really dry and they're not having the blessings as the other friend. Like it takes a lot of selflessness and assurance in yourself to be a really good friend. And that's what I want to talk about, because that is what's so important. To be a good friend is, it's like, it's very normal to want to, you know, maybe I remember when I was single, like single as a Pringle. I was so single, like nobody was in the DMs, nobody was texting me, I had no one. Like it was, you know, and all my friends had boyfriends. And so I would be like, well, what the heck? Like when am I going to have like a boyfriend or have this? But to me, that's normal. Like you can be like, I would tell my friends, I'm like, oh, I want this, you know, like I'm so happy for you. Like this doesn't take, your blessing does not take away from me. Like your blessing just shows me what God can do with me. Like, and I know, and I trust God enough, and I know that he'll come through for me. I'm so happy for you. Do I want that? Do I want to be married one day? Do I want to have kids one day? Of course. But I know that if it was my season to be blessed, it would be my season. So I'm going to celebrate you now, because that is the kind of friend that I am and I want to be. I want to celebrate people well. I want to have a good heart posture towards people. Like that's the conviction that God has given me, that's what I want to be. But I think that's really hard when all you do is focus on yourself, and you're just like, and you don't trust God, and you think that what happens with others like can't ever happen with you. And so I do think a root problem with friendships is jealousy, envy, and insecurity. And those are all things that God can really help you get through and pray through to become a better friend. Kind of moving on now to grieving from a friend and grieving from like the loss of a friend and that kind of season, and how to not grow bitter and stuff like that. Yeah, so that season's definitely really hard. I've had multiple seasons where, you know, it's almost like it's like breaking up with a boyfriend, and it's sometimes worse because you guys, there's just something about friendship and girlhood and your girlfriend who you go to for everything and you talk with about and you trust. And when that's not there anymore, it's like, it almost is like, as morbid as this can sound, it kind of feels like somebody dies from your life but they're still living. It's like a very weird situation that I think a lot of us have probably gone through. And I think that there's a lot that can happen in your heart. You could start to grow bitter. You could start to wish that bad on them. You could start to have negative thoughts towards them. And I want to encourage you today not to do that. I want you to encourage you to try to look at it in a different perspective. Yes, it hurts. Maybe what happened wasn't fair. Maybe your character was defiled, but God is your defender, and the truth always comes out in the end. So I want you to just stay the course. I want you to rise above. I want you to still be good and still be Christ-like. Wish them good. God says, bless your enemies. He says to bless them. I mean, think about that. Bless your enemies. Like, first he says, forgive your enemies. Then he goes a step further and says, bless your enemies. Like, I don't know about you, but how many of us have a friend break up with us? We feel like we didn't even do anything wrong. And the Lord is saying, I want you to forgive them. And then on top of it, bless them. So like for me, what that looks like is sitting with God, closing my eyes, being like, Lord, help my heart. Like, this is how I feel. Honesty creates intimacy. So I'm like, Lord, this is how I feel about this friend. This is what I feel about this situation, God. This is how my heart, my flesh, I'm hurt. Like, God can handle your emotions. Tell him everything you're feeling. And then talk to him about, how can I overcome this, Lord? Help me to forgive this person, God. And I swear, the second you just start naming that person and you pray for forgiveness over them, it's like a chain breaks and it breaks off of you. And I just pray and then I say, bless them, Lord. Help them to know who you are, God. Bring them people in your life to show them, God. Let their business prosper, God. Help them in whatever they need help with, God. And have compassion towards them. Because that's what's going to soften your heart. That's what makes us more like Jesus. And yes, as much as that's like so hard, that is what God looks for. He says that peacemakers shall inherit the kingdom of God. And having a humble heart is so important when it comes to Jesus. And it's humility, that we need to be low before God. And it's what pride is the reason that we feel, I'm not going to forgive them. Like, who are they to deserve forgiveness? They don't deserve forgiveness, but forgiveness sets you free. And God is so big. Peter asks God, how many times should I forgive my brother? And Jesus says 7 times 77, meaning it's an analogy for all the time, every single time. And I know that can be hard. And forgiveness is like a whole other episode, but those are some ways that I really pray for friends who aren't in my life, who have hurt me deeply, like truly like broken my heart into two. And you really, really just, you pray through that. You ask God to help heal you. You rise above, you be better. You don't gossip about them. You don't talk about them. You don't speak ill on them. You don't wish them bad. And the second that the enemy starts to make those thoughts come into your head or into your heart, you have to just take those thoughts and uproot them and bring them to the light and bring them to God and bring them to friends and say, this is how I'm feeling right now. Because it's so easy to get bitter. And that's what the devil wants. The devil wants you to be mad, get bitter, think evil towards someone, but you're better than that. God has called you higher than that, and you can't allow the enemy to make you stoop to that level or even to their level. You always have to rise above and be the bigger person. So those are some ways that I want to help you. That's how I grieve from friendship losses. There were definitely times like I couldn't even get out of bed. I was like so distraught over some of these friendships, and even though it can be sad, my perspective has definitely changed on when God removes people from my lives, which is hopefully helping you to have a different perspective. And I really view it as a sign of protection, and I trust God that if they're not meant to be in my life, that he's doing that for my good. And I know that it's so easy to get caught up in wondering why or understanding the situation, but there are just some things that God calls us to not have to understand and to just trust him and trust that he has good intentions towards us, and he has a purpose behind what he's doing and why he's doing it. And although we can't see the big picture now, we can in the future. And so we're not just called to trust, we're called to trust God and know that he has our best interests all the time, because he's for us and he's not against us. I really encourage you though to like allow yourself to feel those emotions, allow yourself to cry. Again, like be honest with God about how you're feeling towards these friends or a friend, and then really just let him heal you from that, because there's a season of healing that you're gonna have to go through when you do go through a really hard time with grieving friends or a relationship or anything like that. And it is a sense of heartbreak, so you have to allow yourself to feel those emotions and not suppress them, which I know for some people can be really hard. I know for me that can be hard because you can so easily numb out how you're feeling, but that's only putting a band-aid on it. You have to actually like feel and bring those feelings to the light, and then like go through those feelings and navigate them with God. And that is when healing comes. And don't try to force something that God is removing. If he's removing it and he's exposing it and he's exposing the people, do not try to keep those people around because you do not understand what's happening. If God is removing people from your life, let him. Because although the temptation and the pressure to want to keep those people around because you try to like make understanding of it in your own mind, he does not want that. Because if he's removing someone, it's because he knows that their intentions are maybe not good towards you. He sees the heart. He knows what these people's thoughts are towards you. He knows if they're good or not good for you. And you have to really, really just trust that God's best is for you in those moments. And I always say, like, maybe he'll bring these people back. Maybe they're not meant to be in your life for just a season. But even if he doesn't, you've learned something and it's okay. And I do truly believe that these situations make you stronger. Like, I believe that things like this have only made me stronger. It's made me be able to withstand and be able to continue on with my life without falling into shambles because of this. It's like literally like whatever doesn't break you makes you stronger. Like that cliche saying is so true, because God a lot of the times is also working on you, and he's working on your character, and he wants to sharpen and strengthen you and see how much you can handle, because he's making you stronger. Because wherever you're going, whatever purpose God has over you, whatever calling he has on you, is gonna have to have you attain a level of strength and a level of, you know, whatever he's calling you to do, and maturity. So he's gonna do those by sending you tests. He's gonna do those by giving you tests throughout life with friends and situations and circumstances, and he wants to see how you're gonna react, and he wants to help you mold you and make you more like him. And if he doesn't bring those, if I didn't go through all of the tests that I did with all of the people I've gone through, I wouldn't know how to help people who are broken and have empathy towards people who have a hard time with friends. And I wouldn't even be as strong as I am today to be able to withstand all of the things that I've gone through. I have been persecuted. I've received hate mail. I have been scrutinized on my looks. I've been literally like rejected by so many people. So almost every friend I've had, I've lost. And so, I mean, that takes a really strong person to be able to withstand all of that and still walk with grace and kindness and dignity and love and empathy. And so I just think that it makes you stronger, and that sometimes is the answer. Like that is why it could be happening, you know? I know that some of my deepest cries and prayers have been about friendship. So I know that I am not the only one who has probably gone through that. Something that's really hard. But I know that God is always fighting on my behalf. God has been so gracious to me by sending me 2 friends in my life that I absolutely adore, or one friend that I have talk about God, fashion, Jesus. Like, he knows your heart's desire. He knows that you want friendships. And I just encourage you to pray about friends. Like, pray about community and friends, and ask God to bring you a really good friend who's going to be genuine to you, because God wants that for you. That is something you can pray about and not have to question it, because God wants it for you. Sometimes there are some seasons God needs to kind of isolate you to be able to be alone, not lonely, but to be just with him. And so sometimes he's going to remove people that are from the world, that are not walking with God, because he's taking you out of the world and he needs you to walk with him. He knows if you were friends with them, they'd lead you to sin. They'd lead you to the things he's taking you out of. So there are seasons where that happened to my life. Like, he like completely just removed me, and then removed like everybody attached to me. And like, that was so hard. And it doesn't mean that those people are bad at all. It's not that at all. It's not you're better than, it's not none of that. It truly is just where you're going and the timing of your life, and God is what he's trying to do in you. You know, we can't expect that he's doing that in other people's lives. Like, that's not fair, because it's God's timing. We can't expect like where we are for other people to be there too. So a lot of the times, if he knows that, because God sees the bigger picture, he's going to remove the people who are attached to you, because he knows that their heart's not going to change. They're only going to lead you to sin, unwilling. Like, they don't know it yet. Like, you have to give people grace. You can't be mad at them because they don't know about God. Like, that's not fair to them either. So you have to just know that, like, if this is the path you're choosing and this is the path that God chose for you, you have to go all in with him. And he's not going to want you to hang around people who are drinking, lust, doing all of the things of the world that he's like literally like stripping you of. It would just be too tempting and too hard for you. So he's actually doing you a favor by removing you from these friends. It's just, you know, it's so hard because it's all you've known, or you missed the relationships with them. But I just want to encourage you that, like, he will bring you best friends, people that you thought you've met and known for your whole life, and you've met them in a year. Don't let society try to trick you with like that whole like, oh, we've been best friends since we were raised, like since we were 5 years old, we're childhood best friends. Like, God can literally bring a person into your life. He's done it in my life, he's done it in other people's lives. He could bring a person into your life tomorrow, and you guys feel like you've literally been best friends your whole entire life, and you have so much in common. I mean, you're so young, you could meet your best friend at 50 years old. You can meet your best friend at 25 years old. You can meet your best friend at 70 years old. You can meet your best friend at work, at a job you don't even know that you're gonna have yet. You probably haven't even met your best friend yet. And so I just want to encourage you that like God's timeline is not our timeline. He has a different timeline, and he already knows everything from start to finish, and he knows the people that are going to be in your life. And so don't be discouraged if you haven't met someone that is you know, maybe you feel like won't have a best friend yet, or you are going through a hard season with losing friends. Like, just trust the timing that God has over your life, and trust the season he has you in. Because there were times when I had literally like one friend, and she was like 55, and I was like, where are all the people my age? Like, this is just like, I'm like, is there something wrong with me? And it was never that. It was just God is trying to remove me from the world, and he had to get me in that position so that I could learn from people. Who is my friend, was really helping me with knowing God's word and mentoring me and teaching me scriptures and stuff. And so that was the season I was in. So don't compare your season of, you know, learning with God and walking with God to someone else's season, of a different season that they're in. It's like, try not to compare those types of seasons, because God is so intentional with your life. He has a plan and a purpose for your life, and he has friends that he wants you to do it with. And I also encourage you, like, be the kind of friend that you want to be. Be the type of friend that you want to attract. You know, be celebrate other people. You know, God will see your heart in that. He will reward you for that. And also, you know, put yourself out there. Go to church. Go, you know, reach out to people. Maybe you're a little bit stuck in your comfort zone.